Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for dialing into Facebook Live. And if you're watching this live, please type in live in the comment section. And if you're watching as a replay, just type in replay. We would appreciate it. So today we're going to talk about Major League Power Concentration Part 3. But before we get into it, I'd love to introduce my co-host. I'm so excited he's with me today because I really enjoy working with him. He is a colleague of mine, and he has many roles within the company. One of his primary roles, which he does an excellent job, is in the life planning role. If you want to know what that is, ask him, and I'm sure he'll explain that to you. But Camilo, please join me as a co-host today.
Yes, thank you very much, Sheila. I'm very excited to be here because we are going to talk about this topic, which is concentration. We have covered a lot of material here, and now we are finishing. So yeah, pretty excited because we have really talked about different parts of it, and I think that today is going to be a phenomenal, phenomenal part of this topic.
Yeah, the finale of the Major League Power Concentration. So thank you. So, you know, what you want when you start to communicate is you don't want confusion. You want to be effective and efficient. And another thing around communication is you don't want to throw your hands up in the air and give up, okay? You want to be able to be persistent if the person you are or the audience you're talking to is not able to understand you. So you want to be really, really persistent until you can get your visions and your points across. And then the last thing about concentration, and boy, this would really cause a lot of people big trouble if they veer off. You know, I think about someone training for a really, like at the Olympics, for instance, you know, and I'm like, gosh, if they veered off and didn't really, 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 really focus on going for what they wanted to make it to the Olympics and for actually, you know, getting the gold or getting the silver, they would be in trouble. So those are the three things that you want when you start to be able to really hone in on your skills and effectively communicate. So this ability number 7 is having that ability to effectively communicate has to do with you. So when you start to communicate, the question is, can you articulate and communicate in such a way that the person or persons understand your message, understand what you're explaining? Do you know enough about your subject so that it's very clear? And if the other person runs into a bunch of confusion or things that they have never heard of before, maybe they're not understanding the term, can you solve that? Can you straighten that out so that and explain it in such a way that they can actually get and understand what you're trying to communicate? You know, it's not your mind that doesn't comprehend, it's actually you, not your body, but it's you. So if you can't communicate in such a way that the other person understands you, then I would say you probably don't know your subject well enough. But there's 4 little secrets that is kind of like out in front of you the whole time that you're communicating that you'll be able to see if you just look and if you're present. And the first thing is when you're effectively communicating, it should produce one or all 4 of these. The first one would be, you know, a mood level shift, a rise in mood level when you're effectively communicating. The other thing is it actually strengthens that position that person is in. It helps. The third thing is the person should have more certainty because they understand what on earth you're talking about. And then the last thing is this really hit home for me is, you know, sometimes I thought, well, not all the time does a person, I was thinking sometimes when a person's communicating to you, maybe they're communicating something to you that doesn't necessarily produce a rise in mood level, but you end up having a desire to correct the thing you need to correct, which is huge, because sometimes, people have to say things that may not be that comfortable for you to hear. But if they leave you with a whole shift in mood, well, that's a shift in mood, right? But a whole different outlook and a desire to be able to correct the thing that you're having trouble with, hey, that's effective communication. So when you're talking to someone, those one or all four of those things should be happening if you're having effective communication. And Camilo, is there anything you want to add on that?
Yes, thank you very much, Seal. Yes, I just want to add that we create like a worksheet for each one of these transmissions. So if
Good point.
anybody wants to get the main points that we're talking about here, you just can write down in the comments concentration, and we are going to send you like this document so you can review the topics for today.
Oh, good. Good. So the second ability that a person, or ability number 8 that a person has to have, is we're going over to being able to concentrate and go back to being able to focus, have a laser-like focus, ability to focus and concentrate on the thing that you want to accomplish. And so, but in order to do that, you have to have enough attention bits. So some of you may be listening to me thinking, what on earth is she talking about, attention bits? Well, attention bits is your attention. Simply said, your attention, what your attention on. If it's scattered on a whole bunch of things you're doing, like homework with the kids, climbing the corporate ladder, or getting your business plan together, and maybe there's a relationship issue over here you're handling, maybe there's some stuff going on with some employees, and then you got to deliver at a meeting tomorrow and a whole bunch of appointments with the clients. You've got, there's a lot of attention, a lot of pieces of you on all different things. So you need to be able to focus your attention long enough to get that specific result you're going for. So let me give you an example how that plays out in life. So, I had several jobs over my insurance career, and I came to a point where I said, I am not working in another environment like this last environment I worked with. The last environment I had worked in, the boss was kind of high strung, very negative, high stress. I did not like it. And I was also training. I'd gotten some training on how to have effective communication. So I had some skills in the area, and I was really certain on what I liked and what I didn't like. So what I did was I left the job. I took a temporary job, and I sketched out exactly what I wanted. Wrote down everything on a sheet of paper, 17 things what I wanted in a perfect job, perfect environment, the income, the company car, the type of boss I would have, the type of team within the company, how we would get along. It was 17 different things. And I made the intention. I said, I am not going to accept a job that doesn't have these things. And so I took a $12 an hour job when I was used to making a lot more. People thought I was crazy, I'm sure. And I just held that vision there. I held that vision there. Now, the thing that I ran into when I was holding that vision there was my precepts, my beliefs, my preconceived ideas, my thoughts. I remember calling my coach probably 3 times during that 4-month time span, saying, do you think I'm really going to be able to find something? I've written this out. She knew exactly what. No, she said, you just hold that vision there and you'll get that result. So I had somebody, because I would start to doubt myself, and I was wondering, was it really going to work? And then lo and behold, after 4 months, someone I used to work with that I had a great relationship with called me and said, the company I work for just created this position. You'd be the 3rd one in the United States to be hired. And when I went and interviewed, everything on that list that I had written down was offered to me in that job. But I held that down. But I did run into some doubt, some disbeliefs. But I had to have enough attention bits, enough faith, if you will, to hold it there and really hold a position around it. And then I had a positive coach also who just kind of reinforced and helped me when I started to doubt. So that's the eighth ability, but you got to have a lot of attention bits. And then the third point is, man, this can be pretty tough. And it's really called Veering Disease. And Alan referred to it as VD. And I will tell you, the first time I read that, I'm like, what on earth is this man writing about? But it's Veering Disease. And Camillo is going to tell us about this Veering Disease.
Thank you very much, Sil. Yes, like you were talking about attention bits. And
Yeah.
normally when your attention bits or yes, your attention is scattered,
Yeah.
you are not able to complete sequence of action.
Oh, yeah.
You start something, but you don't finish it.
Yeah.
It's like, and some example of it is, for example, you need to make 10 calls and then you start, maybe you do 2, 3, and then you go and do another thing. And at the end of the day, you don't finish the 10 calls, which you don't finish that sequence of action, but
Yeah.
it can also happen. You have to do something outside, maybe go buy something, and then in the middle of the road, you remember, no, I need to do this other thing. And then you go and search for the other thing, you forget about what you were trying to do. And yeah, like your attention is scattered all over the place and you don't finish the sequence of action that you need to do. You are changing course and many times is a kind of sabotage. So
Yeah.
if we really want to correct this disease, what we can do is we can just make a list. And this is part of the Secrets book, which is one of Alan's book. And what he mentioned is that you can write down the list with all the things that you need to accomplish, and then order them in order of importance, organize them in order of importance. So you can go for the most important first, and you are able to start recovering your attention, because normally when we have many things that we haven't finished, it's like our attention is trapped in those different things. So as we start recovering by finishing sequences or actions, it's like you recover a piece of you that is no longer there.
Yeah.
Out of your control. It's like, okay, I have control of this. Then you finish the second one, you have control of this. And the more you finish on that list, the more things you finish on that list, the more attention you have available to do the next step. You start focusing more on what you want instead of the things from the past that are trapping your attention. So yeah, that's BD.
Yeah, it's so funny because right after it's like right after I read the Secrets book and I did the Personal Zones profile, I went home and I wrote out that list of all the things that were not complete. I mean, literally wrote it out. It was on a notebook paper, like literally like this. The whole page was filled. And I took the next Saturday and I did everything that I could possibly do that was incomplete and had not been finished. And I literally was up to 3 in the morning because I could not sleep, because all my attention had gotten out of those cycles. They were all completed. I had so much attention available. So it's such a positive process to do that, isn't it? It's funny how it's like having money all over the place, you know what I mean? And then just going, collecting it all. So yeah, so great. Thank you. So to sum this up, basically, in order to be able to effectively communicate, it starts with you. You need to be able to articulate your message, to articulate your conversation, use the right words, use the right examples, communicate the vision so that the person you're talking to can understand it. And if they don't comprehend it, that's a second step. You need to check out why don't they comprehend it. It's a word they don't understand. But if you're effectively communicate, you'll always have the person will have an upward shift in their mood level. It will strengthen their position. They'll also feel more certain, or either they'll have a desire to want to correct the thing they need to correct. And then the second point is being able to, which is what Camillo just talked about, not veer off, but being able to focus that attention, focus it there long enough until you can get exactly what you want. But you've got to be able to concentrate and bring those attention bits here and hold that vision there long enough and not get thrown off by any doubt, any thoughts, any preconceived ideas. And that is effective communication. So thank you so much. I hope that you have found this major league power concentration topic that we've talked about for the last few weeks very, very helpful. And stay tuned for next week. It'll be a new topic. Thank you.